What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Straight No Chases Cowboys podcast with your boy, the host with the most, Cliff, aka Hoop Jargon. I got JC and my guy D Brown. Fellas, how we feeling?
Chilling on it.
Chilling on it. D Brown, what's up? You got to unmute yourself.
Rough night last night, man. Initially I said better than LSU. Rough night last night, but
Texas A&M gave y'all everything y'all wanted, plus 7 more.
Belt to ass. Yeah, it was. I anticipated a tough Saturday, and it was everything I thought it was going to be. So, but today's a new day. It's Cowboys Broncos. Hopefully they fire Brian Kelly and we can move on.
Life in the SEC, man. What have you done?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm with it, man.
Hey, man, what about your man Sarkisian, right? After they beat Hail State, right, in an epic overtime win, all of a sudden he's righteously indignant, talking about, the rumors about pro jobs, right? All of a sudden now he's gonna get pissed, dude. The only pro team that called you, man, was the fucking Iowa Barnstormers to be their OC for $300 a week because they know you'll throw every time. I'm going to sit down the pro warmers now. I'm so pissed off. Man, dude, there ain't no NFL team that wants you, man. Fuck out of here, man.
I didn't hear that, but yeah, if they wanted him, it was based on last year. It definitely ain't based on this year.
Right.
They offer is off the table.
Man, whatever. Yeah, man, take that Iowa Barnstormer job, man. $300 a week, and plus the owner knows homeboy that runs the buffet, so you ain't got to worry about food.
I wish I would have saw that because that's kind of like that situation. I forget what Coach Dunn, I believe, at Oklahoma State. About 15 years ago. His quarterback was Bobby Reed. And he ended up transferring to Texas Southern, but he had that fake.
My man, I'm a man. I'm 40. Your man Gundy. Yeah, Gundy. I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm like, man, come on, man. You ain't fooling nobody, buddy.
At all.
All right, but at any rate, man, thank you for coming on back to the party every week. We got a good show lined up for you. So, as we always do, let's recap from last week. Let's talk about, a very impressive win, 44-22 over the DC Commodores, as we call them. Just a belt to ass from beginning to end.
40 ball.
Cowboys just looking incredibly unstoppable at the moment. Gentlemen, your takeaways from that commanding win against the Commanders.
Pop us up, Joey. Joey, you with us?
So you got it?
JC. Well, since he won't, I will. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry you're being thrown to me. I'm just sitting up here just blazing through life. My bad. Go ahead, DB.
All right.
What the fuck? I'm like, are they waiting on me? I'm always used to DB going first.
All right, man. Cool.
My bad, man. Hey, I know, man. Get with it.
Go ahead.
I love this show, man. I love it, man. So yeah, like you alluded to, Cliff. It was a really impressive outing just because. Well, I mean, they were really good in all three phases. Don't know that we've really been able to say that about a Cowboys win, the three of them that they have. Usually when they won, they've kind of outlasted. The other two wins, they've outlasted, survived, to beat the Giants. They had
That's a great point.
They were pretty impressive against the Jets, but they were still concerning because they gave up a lot in the run game, right? So it was like, it was cool. Offense was great again, but man, they're getting gassed in the run game. This one felt like the most complete win of the three they've got this year, and it was really interesting from my vantage point, man, to see a glimpse of what we all anticipated with the full complement of the weaponry that Dak's got, right, to work with. Dak CeeDee Lamb had been out for 3 weeks prior to this one, and George Pickens is like, "Don't worry, bro, I got it." It had like an epic run of production. While CeeDee was out. Of course, we had some offensive linemen out as well, and QB1, as we've said week in and week out, and this one was no different. Was just stellar, right? Dealing with whatever he had to run out there with, QB1 has been great. So we've just kind of opined on what would this thing look like, when he has CeeDee and George Pickens, when he has some pieces back in that offensive line. When we got Turpin and Jake Ferguson, right? Like, what was this thing look like, man? Because it could be pretty scary. Well, we got that first glimpse, and that offense looks pretty damn scary with all of them out there. Javonte Williams returned to form, running like I got to borrow a phrase that I heard on a broadcast. I said, "Run like the rent was due." I mean, he was running tough, but man, that setup, man, with CeeDee and Pickens and Turpin and Ferguson, with Dak reading coverages and just being what Dak has been all year, it was amazing, bro. It was absolutely amazing. And then to see the defense, play with some force, cause some turnovers. Unfortunately for the Commodores, Jaden Daniels got knocked out on some really serious Cowboys pressure. How about Jadeveon Clowney, right?
Yep.
Looking like, flashes of what made him the number 1 overall pick many years ago. Just a solid up. Deron Bland looked like a dominant cornerback again. Had a pick 6 on the errant Marcus Mariota pass, again caused by pressure. So now we're forced, and this is where I landed, man. So now we're forced to hope, which is a kind of a weird, I dare say, unfortunate situation to be in, because you see what this thing could be if Dallas's defense supports that offense, or like we often hear about, plays complementary football. If they can just give Dallas's offense a little bit in terms of making plays on the defensive side of the ball, getting off on third down against a quarterback in an offense that's not particularly easy to get off on third down. Just not go out there and be dominant, but make plays. Get some stops. Turn the ball over. Force a fumble. Get a pick. Not necessarily a pick 6, but just turn them over and let that offense go out and do what it does. Because right now that offense looks. I'd love to hear y'all guys' take on this. That offense looks right now, the way they're set up. That offense looks as complete and as unstoppable in its current iteration as any in the Dak era, and I'm including rookie year. I'm including 2016. I don't see a discernible weakness in that offense. If that defense can get to middling, it's been interesting. The problem is, and this is where I landed and throw it to JC, is because you left the money you left on the table prior to going into yet another important game, which we'll get into later today, because you left money on the table, with Green Bay, because you left money on the table with Philly, because you left money on the table with Carolina. Now, every game's a premium, right? You're hoping for other results, and now every game gets to be a must-win. So you've essentially, because you left that money on the table, you basically shrank your slack, if you will, to like, okay, man, well, we lost that one, we can get this one next week. You not necessarily got to run the table, but you're pretty damn close. And like we've talked about in the previous shows, the schedule gets decidedly more difficult, after these next 3 games they're going to play. So, and this one that they have coming up today is not going to be easy. So I'll be interested to hear, what you guys think about that part of it. But to land it, terrific win with the full complement of offensive pieces. And hopefully that defense can find some semblance of consistency to give them something. And lastly, Brandon Aubrey press conference needs to happen in the bye week 2 weeks from now. And with that, my man JC.
There it is, JC. What you got?
it's like the San Diego Chargers, man, with Fouts and Keller Winslow and Wes Chandler. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Joyner, Muncie, right? Like, hurry up and let them score, man, so we can get the ball back.
Right.
And that's basically what happened at the end of the first half, right? So when it was a competitive game and, DC goes down and scores, I'm like, oh, man, there's like 40 seconds left. You know what I'm saying? This
we
is
can work.
Great. And so they walked it down the field and scored the all-important score before halftime, right? Get that momentum going. And then it was really a kind of a wrap after that, man. Like, everybody's doing the damn thing. Your man Ferguson, right? Every week, 7 catches, 28 yards, 2 scores, right? Like, he's a touchdown machine, man, right? You know what I'm saying? When he's not. Oh, okay. Boom, breaking news.
Remix.
He's a touchdown machine, man, which I think this is, it's really interesting how everybody makes everybody better, and particularly the man taking snaps makes everybody better. What a tremendous difference it makes, and you got Booker back, okay? Ooh. And that most definitely helps. We got to see the difference between Booker and Hoffman Bass, whomever it was. I guess it was Bass, whose spot he took. I mean, he's just a larger man, right? I mean, you look at this football team, obviously offensively, there's just a tremendous amount of talent everywhere, right? And again, I know it's a tired, worn out team. Play a little defense. They did play a little defense. Okay. And again, I keep talking about it with the boys all the time. I kept calling him Smith, but Shamar James. I keep talking about that guy, and he keeps showing up. You worry because he's a little bit smaller of a guy. Kind of like Overshown, right? But he can really run, man. You know what I'm saying? So when Overshown gets back, I'm really envisioning it being James, Hawaiian Punch, and Overshown from here on out.
It's going to be a fun group to watch.
Yeah, man. Sanborn and Murray need to take their ass to special teams. My man's Flournoy. No disrespect to any of those cats, for real. That's their best hope, is to, give. They're like, the Cowboys are basically like Luka Doncic, okay? Just play a little defense, homie. A little bit in the playoffs. Right?
Nice.
You know you're gonna get yours on offense. Just give us a little D. And when the Mavericks made their run to the finals, Luka did play a little bit of off the ball defense, of course. Chip in, man. Everybody makes everybody better. And obviously, you got to give a tip of the cap to Coach Schottenheimer and the job that he's doing with those guys. Again, man, I just keep thinking back to, and I'll land the plane like this. I keep thinking back to, what he said. And it is hard for Cowboy fans to be patient, and I'm definitely one of them. But, hey, man, we're building something here.
Yeah.
We're building something here, right?
Great point.
So, and just to DB's point, as the wheels touch down on the runway, 70%, brother. You need to win 70% of your remaining 10 games, I believe, to get in the playoffs. Mainly because, your conference record, and of the 3, if you want to, choose who you lose to, what I'm saying? You need to lose to KC and the Chargers. You need to, if you're going to, what I'm saying? If you have to lose, let the losses be to those guys, man, because, if you somehow win the division, which I still think the odds are against that, the winning of the division, if you will, then, it's going to come down to conference record. In terms of getting into the playoffs. So, whomever Chicago plays, you got to pull for Chicago to lose. Carolina is playing Buffalo today. Got to pull for Buffalo. That's what I said, boys and girls. Root for AFC teams against all NFC teams except the Cowboys. All right, that's one. And, of course, the Cowboys got to handle their business and win 70% of their remaining games, I believe, in order to make the playoffs.
There it is. I mean, you guys have laid it out perfectly. I guess from my vantage point, the most aesthetically pleasing Cowboy win of the season for sure. And that's important because, and this is what I always talk about, of like controlling a football game, or whatever team that I'm, have affinity for. I always look at, can you control the pace? Can you dictate the actions of a football game? And that's just what the Cowboys finally did. I mean, it's something like a lot of meat that's been on the bone. Like, what if this ball would have bounced that way? What if we could have got the stop there? And we were complete from beginning to end against a team that most thought could definitely beat us at home, right? Dak Prescott is just, it's getting funny. It's getting so much. It's on social media. It's like this slow roll to like accept that Dak Prescott is probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Because some people, it's a sliding scale with the Cowboys. It's like, yeah, they look all right, but yeah, Dak is playing good, but it's like I always said, like y'all are so quick to throw these buffers up to critique him, but to praise him, but when it's time to critique him, you got a pocket full of reasons why he ain't shit, right? So ultimately, I'm saying like it's getting harder to criticize Dak because he's playing lights out football right now. By the numbers, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That was a problem a few seasons ago with him giving that ball up, and Dak is not doing that at all. Like you said, with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, it's just looking like one of the best wide receiver duos, not named Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, in quite a few years. And it's just so seamless. And I like the synergy that these two play with. They play like two homeboys who done grew up their whole life together. You know what I mean?
They did.
You know how it goes with the dueling receivers. You see a little player Haitian going on sometimes. Shout out to with AJ Brown. Also, great point with Jake Ferguson, man. He's becoming that tight end that we always rely on, not named Jason Witten. And he's always there when Dak needs him, man. Going up their seams, when we're in red zone, find that open spot for the little catch and fall down. Again, Jason Witten special right there. Those are kind of things we're going to need to move the ball up. And also Kevontae Turpin it feels like every time he touch it, he ain't nothing but a spin move or a quick juke away from, breaking a big one. And the greatest part is we don't even really need that. But that's a great wrinkle when a team does get an opportunity to kind of put us down on the outside and we need another guy to look towards. So we're just firing on all cylinders. And shout out to Jaden Blue finally getting some action. He had one of his good runs taking back with a holding. So I know he probably felt some type of way about that. But we just hit, Javonte Williams, he slowly want to make me take this Zeke Elliott shit off. Go give me a number 33 jersey because he's been consistent. If we're being honest, when we signed him, I'm like, okay, solid signing, but I'm not excited about no Javonte Williams. And since week 1, he has been quietly one of the most consistent running backs we've had since Zeke. And that's what Rico Dowd fresh out the building. He's having a great year in Carolina. Good for him. But I'm happy where we at.
No doubt.
I got no Rico remorse. Huh?
He's second in the league in rushing. He's damn near double his average per carry from last year, for real. Right.
So I'm smooth where we are, man. Defense, most importantly, has been one of the biggest things. Again, shout out to Coach Shoddy, man. Eberflus is taking. Well, I'll give Eberflus some credit too. So,
no doubt.
Yeah. So he's been the whipping boy, and rightfully so for this entire season because the defense looked like booty cheeks, right? And so what he's done is started listening to his, his personnel and saying like, hey, man, can we play a little more zone? I'm sorry, man. The zone is just kind of killing us. And shout out, I'm sure Shoddy, has been in his ear about, stepping it up because like you said, we can't just go every week and just the offense do all the work. And ironically, us playing against the Broncos reminds me of how we've been playing was, I want to say like 7 years ago, 8, when Tony Romo and Peyton Manning had that shootout where the Dallas Cowboys couldn't stop
I was there.
Yeah. So hopefully it don't look like that.
Great game, right.
Yeah, but that's what we, have seen before from the Dallas Cowboys having no ability to stop anything.
Right.
So shout out to the front four, man, creating pressure the entire game against a really good young quarterback. And my man MF and James Houston. That's my boy, man. Out there looking good, young.
Yeah.
on the edge, and hopefully I can't call it, but Jadeveon Clowney is mentoring him because he looked damn good, like you said, in old form. And finally, our boy Bland, doing what he does best, catching you slipping and taking it for 6. So those are kind of things that we need to see from week to week. I know you won't get a pick 6 every week. That's kind of unattainable, but just making plays, man, like getting out there, making it uncomfortable for quarterbacks, and letting your guys back there actually have an opportunity to, catch somebody slipping and make a mistake. But all in all, we scored enough points in the second quarter to win the football game. That's a good thing. So we need to start putting belt to ass on these teams because our offense is like that. So I was very impressed with this Cowboy win again because we weren't the cardiac Cowboys, hanging around, and maybe doing something later in the game. We're starting to impose our will, and that is indicative of a very good football team. So I was very impressed, and so I want to carry this momentum going forward because to me, we're a good football team, man. We're just inconsistent. We can't put a whole damn game together. But if you ask me where we were before week 1 to where we are now, I'm pretty impressed, man, because the losses we have beside the Carolina one, Eagles, I mean, I hate to say a good loss, but that's a loss that you can build something from. Tying with the Packers, that's something you can build something from. So all in all, let's keep banking these wins, like I always say, from week to week, and we'll see where we are in a few weeks.
Man, you touched on something, a couple things in terms of like the overall look, Cliff, that I wanted to bounce off you guys before we move to Denver and a couple of our special segments in the show. DaRon Bland. So the pick 6 was obviously the big highlight play, but the thing I was impressed with as far as he's concerned, because let's face it, there's certain guys on both sides of the ball that you expect more from when they attain a certain level, right? It was kind of like, my dad growing up, his whole thing about grades was this: once you show me that you have the capability of making A's and B's,
that's the standard.
I'm not accepting anything else. That's the standard. Absolutely. Right. So if you're slacking, then you got to catch these hands. You got to deal with that, right? And it's kind of like that with these teams. And DaRon Bland is an All-Pro now. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. When you attain an All-Pro level, then you're expecting a certain level of performance, from any guy to any position. If they're at that level, Pro Bowl, definitely All-Pro, right? So the thing I was encouraged about when you see a DaRon Bland out there, I know Diggs is a whole nother deal, but the thing when you see, like I said, the highlight play was the pick 6, but I thought he tackled well. Like he had a couple of plays where he stopped guys short of the line of the game. Those are All-Pro type plays that help you get off the field. Those are not necessarily the sexy plays like a pick 6, but they're huge plays in the game because you're giving that offense, which we've all agreed is pretty damn unstoppable, another chance to go out and do what they do. Those are the plays that you need your All-Pros to make. And I thought he was really, really good at that. And the other tenet that I think is really fun to watch and to continue to develop, and great input in the chat, by the way. You guys are lighting it up.
Yeah, they rock and roll today.
I love it. The confidence, the aggressive disposition of Shotty on this play call of his offense. Think about it, guys. And Aaron Rodgers comes to mind when I'm making a point I'm about to make. Usually when we would play the Packers in the Aaron Rodgers era, Dallas, they'd make a play, particularly at the end of the games, because a lot of those games were close and a lot of those games we came up short in.
Correct.
But you would look at the clock and there'd be 58 seconds, $1:10, a minute 1, and you're like, shit.
Eternity.
Right. Because you would just, you would just have this paralyzing fear because you're like, damn it. Because you're counting in your head like, okay, if they kick it out of bounds, he gets to that 30, oh shit. And then 2 plays later, and then 3 plays later, he makes the play to sets them up or wins the game. Right. And what's fun to watch when you look at halftime of this game, and it's really been like that this season. Dallas got the ball back. And they've done this more than once this season. Dallas got the ball back with what, 40 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Before halftime.
Yeah.
And Dallas Cowboys teams vote, and I'm calling Mike McCarthy out specifically, right? They would run a head scratching play or just mail it in, and we'll take what we got. Not try to do anything to build momentum, like JC said just a moment ago, which is huge. And then Dallas takes a sack, and most certainly in the McCarthy era, that was take a knee.
Hell yeah! Mail it
take
in.
a knee, go to half, and mail it in. The next play after they take what is typically a demoralizing, just drive killing sack. The next play, Dak sticks his back foot in the ground on a deep drop and lays that was a 40-some-odd yard pass, and I mean an absolute dime against what was really good coverage to Pickens. Pickens makes the play, and you're like, they're like, bro, they're not conceding anything on offense. And I love that, because when is the last time that the way we observe a game, have we seen an offense, a play called offense with that type of disposition? I'm going to say in the Dak era, never. Hadn't happened. Never been this aggressive in the Dak era since 2016, right? Yeah. And then the very next play, Williams rips off that run, because you guys were probably thinking like I was. Okay, so we got 40 seconds. They get it to 35. Dak's baby got to get two first downs. You running Brandon Aubrey out there. Not even thinking about it. You running Aubrey out there.
Give him to the star.
Right.
Give him to the star.
Shotty's, I mean, that's almost the second plan. Shotty's like, damn that. We one-on-one with Pickens. We going after that. After the sack. On top of it. So you lose 8 seconds from the sack. You have to burn a timeout. So it's like, McCarthy, okay, well, that didn't work out. Take a knee, and you go shot in the end zone. Like, oh, man, could they have tried? No. Shotty's like, damn that. Line the ass up. Go out there on this man coverage, and he drops a 40-plus yard dime. And then the run gets blocked up really well. You see your man Booker, JC, just goes out and WWE's a cat on that run. I mean, just straight pile drives. I mean, that disposition, you talking about he's a larger man? He's a larger man with a much larger disposition, dude. He is got that nastiness that you like in your interior lineman. Like, he doesn't just block to win the rep. He blocks to, like, whoop your ass, like, demoralize you every snap. Kind of like what Lyle Collins was before they moved him to tackle. Just beating that ass. So,
he said he wants to do that.
Right.
He talked about that when he got drafted.
And he's out here doing it, right, as a rookie. And you're thinking, man, we got this dude under contract for 5 years. This is awesome. So, I just want to touch on that, man, before we shifted, just some of the subtleties that a lot of the casuals may miss, because this is stuff we've not seen from a Cowboys offense, certainly from the guys that's calling the plays. This type of aggression, and then you see a guy you get back like a Deron Bland, who you expect to be your playmaker, and even on the routine plays, that was the great thing about the great Darren Woodson, right? Darren Woodson wasn't a big, turnover guy. He didn't get a lot of interceptions, right. But Darren Woodson was always in a position to make the tackle when the tackle needed to be made. Didn't run up and hit a guy real hard, and he bounced off. If Darren Woodson got to you, your ass he put you on the ground and made the play. He got the stop. And so see a guy like Bland do that. So hopefully they can bleed over and they can build, and all the things that way can do that. But I just want to touch on these two things, man, as a piece of optimism going forward about what this team hopefully.
Let me add a little bit to that.
Yeah.
Before you go, JC, let me add a little bit to that. Yeah. So it tells me two things of that awesome breakdown you had. One is that Shotty trusts the film. Yeah. That, okay, we took a sack. I know we have a matchup, that we can exploit, so we going back to it.
Absolutely.
Trust the film. And then he has the right to be optimistic. And again, worst case scenario, let's get to the star. And I got somebody who can put it still through the uprights. So you're taking that wall of fear off the top. Secondly, it's almost like as a Cowboy fan in particular, you kind of take on the personality of the team.
Yes.
The way you root for them.
Yeah.
So now, like you said, how your pops did you, how like expectation was at a certain level when you showed some aptitude.
Not accepting enough.
We got the ball with 40 seconds. I was expecting to score. I like, okay, that's a way time for us to score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's the difference, like you said, with other iterations of the Cowboys. I'm like, okay, let's just get out for the half without giving.
At least we got the lead.
Yeah. Now it's time to start putting our foot on some necks.
I love it.
So I love that little soliloquy you had, because it does change the whole dynamic of our team. Jason, what you got?
I'm looking at watching Bland, and yes, DB nailed it. This guy, and he's kind of always been like that. He sniffs out screens. He tackles on swing passes, right? In addition to having a nose for the ball, it really, like there was a transition period way back in the day when the Cowboys transitioned away from guys like Benny Barnes and Aaron Kyle and the great Charlie Waters and the great Cliff Harris. And so next thing you know, you look up and it's Thurman, Downs, Everson Walls, and these cats, right? And they just found ways to get their hands on the football and make plays. After a while, man, I mean, Bland's got what, 6-7 touchdowns, on picks. It's a thing. It's not a fluke. It's a thing, man. And, he is great, as a lot of the great ones are, at coming off like he did on the pass that he picked off a score. He kind of comes off his guy and says, oh, what's this? Quarterback's going across the field. Like, he sniffs that shit out, right? Oh, he's going to do it. Is he going to do it? Is he going across the field? Oh, gone. Right? And he is an outstanding tackler. He's just a good football player. What a great pick, again, by Will McClay, 5th-round guy out of Fresno State. And, I remember Fresno State with Pat Hill, who had been, in the pros, had been an assistant. Fresno State's deal was anybody, anywhere, anytime. So there was a little bit of a pro feel, certainly with their receivers. Right. I believe Devontae Adams, went to Fresno State, unless I'm wrong about that. But it's, you can kind of see it with the kid, man. He comes in as a rookie and he gets 5 picks, right? And it's like, oh, what's this? And he filled in at boundary corner on that team that lost to San Francisco in the playoffs, right? And so, then he comes back, and like I said, slot corner, it's basically, like when they used to say, well, you have your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your special teams coach. Now it's your special teams coordinator, because people realize that there's a tremendous amount of importance on that aspect of the game. Slot corner is becoming pretty much damn near as important as, your outside corners, right? Like third receiver, that kind of a thing. The whole philosophy was my third receiver is better than your third corner. Not anymore, right? Not anymore. Teams are paying attention to it. And to what you alluded to in regards to, you have X amount of time left and you take the sack and you still continue to throw the football and try to get points. That's Schottenheimer allowing that to happen because he has confidence in the football team, right? You're going to do that. That's why he had Williams run and fall down to set up the 64-yard field goal. He has confidence in his offense. He has confidence in his kicking game, in terms of, hey, man, there's X amount of time left. Yes, we're going to go for it, and we're going to try to get points, man. I tell you what, and I've said it many times, and it's kind of always been like this. Man, Dak throws that takeoff route up the sideline about as good as anybody in the NFL.
There's no doubt. And that's a really difficult pass.
That takeoff route, and he's starting to throw that big, deep post that they ran. If you look at the play against Philadelphia when Lamb dropped it, right? Then look at the one this past weekend where he goes, 75, right? Same damn play.
Exact same play. Right? Yep, great call.
Well, the thing with that route, run that sumbitch again, because that's twice. That route has made 2 defenders smash into each other.
I was gonna say,
great call, JC. Terrific call.
It looked like the same play, right? That's why, when he dropped it, like I knew had he caught that against Philadelphia, it was gonna be that same, shit against the Lions, shit against the Patriots, where he's come on now, right?
Yeah.
While he's strolling to the end zone, it is fantastic to watch, just in terms of you feel a little bit better about it you wouldn't like in the 90s or even the early aughts felt real good, with the way the league went, particularly 90s, 80, in that where, but they really need to have a defense. Good teams, have a really good defense. Yes, they do need to have a good defense, but man, the league is more offense driven than ever. And so that kind of gives you hope. And you also, on a week-to-week basis, because of where they're at with it, and that they are trying to build something, and you were going through some growing pains, so to speak.
Correct.
You literally get to share what the players go through, and you're just trying to win this game, this particular game. You're all about this one game, and must win, that kind of a thing, right? Which really ramps up, which really ramps up the excitement, in terms of, they need this for today, and you're going to say the same thing next week.
Absolutely.
They need it. Yeah. They need to get them, the up and down stuff, we need to kind of, hopefully the boys can string together a little bit of momentum. I'm extremely worried about this one today, unbelievably worried about it. And of course, we'll get into that on the other side, but there's a lot of positives here. And even though you're 3-3-1, dare I say, trending up.
Yeah. One last question for you both, if I may.
Go ahead.
Right before we dive into Denver. Man, isn't it fun? And this is for y'all in the chat too. Whether you're just observing Dallas, big fans like we are, what have you. Man, but here's to me what's the fun about watching this offense in like a small difference when you see dynamic offenses with other teams, right? The fun thing about this, we've talked about the group that Dak's in, right? That's one thing. But now that you've got CD and Pickens, and this is what the question is centered around. Man, isn't it like really like cool to watch these two guys who have, I think we can all agree, dynamic talent. But even in the old Irvin, Alvin Harper days, there was a bigger definition of the role as Mike was the consummate possession receiver, and Alvin Harper was the big play guy. It actually played out that way in their time together, and obviously that worked really well for the Cowboys. We had our man K-Dub at times, as the speed slot guy, Kelvin Martin, those guys, Cavante Turpin in this case.
Perfect fit. Perfect fit.
Exactly. But with these two, Lamb and Pickens, I'm talking about, here's a question. Man, isn't it fun to watch, or do you see what I'm seeing, or am I tripping? Like with these guys, their roles are not as defined. In other words, Dak can readily and seemingly does this, go to either one of them for the possession play on the 3rd and 8 when you got to have it, or he can go to either one of them to take the top off, and he will readily do that. And am I tripping, or do you rarely see that where you've got two guys that can act in the possession capacity as well as the big play capacity? I'm going to throw it to y'all with that one.
They can both hook up. They can both go deep. They can both rack. I mean,
you don't really see that often, right?
That is. I think there's pretty much no doubt now. I mean, yes, certainly Puka and once again Devontae Adams is a hellacious combo, and what they got going in Cincinnati is great. But the best and the most spectacular combo, all right, without a doubt, is Sedarian Lamb and George Pickens. There's no question about it, man. They're both, you look at it, okay, and of course we know Jamar Chase, amazing ball player, amazing. Higgins is more of a steady guy, in the mold of an Amon-Ra St. Brown, but when you look at the Cowboys, the two Cowboy cats are freaking spectacular. They're capable of being spectacular. Okay, you can't, Puka's a volume guy, right? And Devontae Adams is an incredible body control guy. He's bigger than people realize. He's just a terrific receiver. All right, but the splash plays and the explosiveness, right? That's the element that Sedarian and George add, that none of these other teams have. It's I don't think we've seen, honestly, this duo to me reminds me of, the Moss and Chris Carter. All right.
I like that.
Good one. Wow.
Like Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt.
There you go. Oh, that's another
Torrey
great
Holt, bad boy, right? And Isaac Bruce was cold as fuck too. So
yes, he was.
This is what I'm talking about when we, talk about these upper echelon guys. Ultimately, just because
Reggie Wayne
footballs to go around.
Another good one, Clip.
Harper was going to catch average about 50 catches a year. Okay, which is not huge. Meanwhile, Irvin's catching 100 or whatever. But, Harper's averaging 15, 18, 20 yards a catch, right? Whereas both Pickens, Harper's not really a high volume guy, but shit, you catch 3 for 100 and a touchdown, I'm going to take that.
That's all we need.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But both of these cats have the ability to be high volume guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? And I'll kind of capstone this segment here with this. In years of past, with the dynamics that we had in the receiver core, even with Amari Cooper, we had to rely on a whole bunch of gimmick stuff to get CeeDee Lamb going. If we couldn't get going, and by that I mean throwing those quick screens, doing the jet sweeping motherfuckers to death. Like, we don't have to do that no more. We don't have to do that anymore, man. We are lining these guys up. And again, like JC was saying, you run the deep post. You have opportunities where Pickens is easy beating guys on that outside, and Dak getting an opportunity to just hit him on that back shoulder. And Pickens gonna make the play. Like last week, catching the ball knees in. When last time have we seen that type of prowess besides, I guess, Dez? Well, Dez wasn't really he's like Dez in a sense, but then he has a lot more of versatility on top of that. Where Dez kind of was a goal ball guy, a fade in the end zone guy.
50-50,
but just a strong, right, 50-50 ball. Yes, I guess that's what the point I'm trying to make.
Yep.
But when you have a version of Dez who also can run the route tree, and again, we don't have to rely on that cheap stuff to get going. Lord, man, it's just I can only lament back to 2017 when we had Tavon Austin and Hearns.
Yeah.
Please, it was just so hard to get the offense going, man. And so we got first world problems now, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch how we dictate the actions of every given football game, and these dudes feed off each other. So now, so to fully answer your question, no, we've never seen this in quite some time. Having two guys with the versatility and the youth and the speed and the strength that these guys have, man, it's a beautiful thing to see. And the fact we got a quarterback to throw it to him. For all of you Cooper Rush people, as D Brown put it in our group chat,
yes,
who got demoted from his backup job. So all y'all was talking the affiliates, as we call y'all on the show. We ain't use that term in a minute.
Yeah,
but we call affiliates y'all want to be Cowboy fans who blow with the wind. We're talking about Cooper Rush to replace Dak, and we like, man, tap brakes all the way on.
Please tap brakes.
So, man, listen, so with all that to kind of land it all the way, it's just good to have that versatility. And these guys are young. These guys are hungry.
Yeah.
And you got Dak to give them the ball. Love it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
All right, man, we can be on this topic all day because this is very exciting about this football team. And I hope y'all appreciate the breakdowns on this because, I mean, it's easy to go and rah-rah about the Cowboys, but this is actually a pretty good team that may be on the precipice of really, doing something big. I know we got the Chiefs around the corner, but, we'll talk about that when we get there. But right now, we look damn good. I'm just saying. All right, moving forward. Lucky Whitehead Award.
Lucky.
Zen, what's up, baby? Lucky Whitehead Award. For those who are new, man, make sure you hit the like button first. Make sure you guys subscribe to Pass the Joint podcast, and as well as over here in Hoop Jargon. Make sure you do that. Come on, let's do some house cleaning. But all right, so the Lucky Whitehead Award is an award we give every week for like an unsung hero who makes a big play or what have you, but it can kind of mold to just a play we just really love. So just give a shout out to somebody that, hey, man, I noticed what you did last week. All right, so you know what? I'll kick it off. I'll start off with Deron Bland, the pick six. I know it's against Marcus Mariota. He actually looked pretty good in that drive before that interception. Actually, he
doing what he does.
Good. Yeah, he can move with his feet. You know, he keeps his eyes upfield. So we got that pressure on him. He made an errant pass. D. Bland was partying like 2021, 2022. He took it to the house like he does better than anybody else, you know, in this association. So what his name that matter? So yeah, I give my Lucky Whitehead Award to one Deron Bland.
My man. Great call. JC, what you got, Bob?
I would go with probably, you know, more in the, it's funny how, like, I never used to give the award in the spirit of the award. And now, since I finally did a deep dive
it's the JC Ford Award
on a show that I'm on, right? And learned, you know, that it's a quote unquote, you know, gadget guy, special team guy, blah, 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 blah. Now the script is completely flipped. You know what I'm saying? You know, you guys are giving the award to Pickens and Bland. And meanwhile, I'm searching for the special teamer Swiss Army knife guy to try to give the award to. So I'm gonna go with, you know, probably who the award would be invented for, man, and that's Turpin. I'm gonna go with Turpin. Now again, man, in fairness to Turpin, man, Turpin is a lot better than Lucky Whitehead. Not that Lucky Whitehead was a bad
100%.
Right? You know what I'm saying? For the you know what I'm saying, for the Isaiah Stanback types. And who was that kid? Woody Dantzler from Clemson.
Woody Dantzler. Right? Woodrow Dantzler. Yes, sir.
Turpin's better than those guys.
Good call.
Turpin's better than those guys, man. And you were talking about it earlier, man. And as you said it, we talking about Turpin. I just see him taking that little pass and taking off up the sideline. Right? Yeah. You know, looks like he's about 5'2" and shit. Right?
Yeah.
You know, running past, little feet moving, flying past everybody, right? Gain of 25.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, the game really, you know, going back to Jimmy Johnson and even Tom Landry before them, the Cowboys, before people forget, they don't realize this. All right. Before Jimmy, the Cowboys were the team that was about speed. Always. Landry and them loved speed. As a matter of fact, the Ice Bowl, all right, that was a straight fluke and luck, because if the field conditions had been average, you know what I'm saying, even slightly below average, right, as opposed to that sheet of ice that they played on, the Cowboys were so much faster than Green Bay. And this was, you know, kind of the older Green Bay. You know, this was coming to an end Green Bay. They were so much faster and so much better, but that game was played on ice, basically. So you get a chance to showcase their speed. The Cowboys have always been about speed. Always. Hell, look at Randy White, defensive tackle, tracking down Scott Fitzke, a receiver for the Eagles, from 40 yards away. They've always been about Bob Hayes, on and on and on. I could go on and on and on and on. They've always been about speed. But now the league is about speed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Turpin certainly brings that, man, Mr. 23 miles an hour or whatnot.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Come on, take Turpin. All right.
Man,
Brian, bring us home.
Great breakdowns from you both. Great selections both, man. I'm going to go with former number 1 overall pick, Jadeveon Clowney. I thought Clowney was, you know, when you look probably statistically, it wasn't the sexiest game. But, man, the way he impacted that
number game. He was. I didn't even know it was him, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. You keep getting like, wait a minute, is that Clown?
42 or some shit.
but, man, the one word that he was, which is why Clowney was the number 1 overall pick, was disruptive. From the batted passes, you know, you kind of forget that Clowney's 6'7", right? You saw some of that burst again where it's like, man, they can't block this dude. You know, he just was wreaking havoc all game. And that was some of the things that you hope to have seen, just glimpses of, flashes of when they signed him. So, but he was so impactful in that game for a defense that really needed it. I mean, they had gotten roasted and barbecued for all the right reasons in a week previous. And the way he stepped up and impacted that game on the defensive side, man, I was not going to let this week pass without giving my man, former number 1 overall pick, Jadeveon Clowney, the Lucky Whitehead Award for the week.
I like it. And we probably should have got him a week earlier, but I mean, we got him now.
No doubt.
All that matters.
No doubt.
Yeah, I like it. Great segment, gentlemen. So, Lucky Whitehead Award winners of this week: Deron Bland, not Lucky Whitehead, Kevontae Turpin, and one Jadeveon Clowney. All right. So I'm going to merge these two topics into one, and then we're going to go into the Broncos preview for the week.
Okay.
And you guys, again, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all hit that like button. This has been a fun podcast like every week, man. So I hope y'all come back. You're getting breakdowns like you get nowhere else, man. We don't fanboy over here.
No.
So with that being said, with the Cowboys, every week are putting up, splash numbers. We just talked about the prowess from our receiver core, and Dak Prescott playing out his mind with Williams just toting that thing like great 2-1 used to. Are we just quick response answer on this, or are we top, or are we the best offense in the league? Real quick.
Yes. The reason I say that, balance. Talk about it every year. Balance.
Yeah.
Balance, because they can run it. And here's where I submit it on the quick blast.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, and you guys can relate to this. There was a time when Dallas was great running the football between the 20s. But when it came to money time running the football and converting touchdowns into touchdowns instead of field goals, Dallas wasn't that great.
Facts.
Right?
Big facts.
And Dallas, had a playmaker, and then they would have a playmaker on the outside, guy that was pretty reliable, make plays for you. But if they rolled to safety, the rest of the guys, it's kind of meh. This team offensively is balanced, right? You've got two dynamic guys on the outside. You've got a matchup problem in the middle of the field with Jake Ferguson. You got a guy that you can turn around, and you don't have to Lucky Whitehead it at the 10-yard line. You've got a guy that you can turn around, hand the ball off to. You got an offensive line that can move people, and you can just literally punch the thing in at the goal line when needed. That's balance. I think Dallas has that balance, that level of offensive balance. And by the way, but it's worth belaboring the point. And then you've got a quarterback that's playing at an MVP level that's not only making the great throws and what have you, but guess what else he's doing? He's commanding the line of scrimmage and checking them into the right plays, farm off, not complete command. Yeah. That goes into that balance as well. So with all of those ingredients, like a good gumbo, everything's in there, right? And hey, right now, I would take Dallas's offense over everybody's. I think Baker may have probably splashier numbers, but the totality and the balance of this offense and the way they can attack you. Oh, and by the way, this is where I landed. Then you can top it off. Oh, if you do, this is an offense that you're not asking too much to do, because even if it happens to bog down and you're anywhere around the 50-yard line, go run Mr. Aubrey out there.
Yes, sir.
What offense has that? That has to be the differentiator. I'll take Dallas' offense over everybody.
I like it.
Man, JC, from 1968 to 1982, the Cowboys averaged $140 a game on the ground. 15 years, homie. $140 minimum per game on the ground. And and in an unrelated story, which is actually related, they made the playoffs 14 out of 15 years. Now, those teams also had some other gaudy numbers, like under Landry, they were top 10 defense pretty much every freaking year in, year out. But again, we talked about it, man. This thing works better with a run game. It always has. And what I'm amazed by is, okay, so now your running back room's a little short. All right. And so it's like, wow, are they going to put even more of a load on Javonte Williams? Shit, man, the sumbitch hadn't had 20 carries in a single game this year. Mm-hmm. How about that? All right. 18, 19 carries, right? Again, and we talked about it. Dakota Rain, 22 of 30, 260, something like that. Couple scores, no picks. Williams, 19 for, 100 or whatever on the ground. It is amazing how efficient they are. It's how and how balanced they are. There's that word again, man. Balance. How balanced they are, right? And Williams has been, again, he didn't excite anybody because they went off of his last campaign, and the guy's coming off a knee injury. And look, man, I can go back in the day, way back in the day. You guys appreciate this, right? My man, Bernard King, tore a ligament in his knee, and they're like, "Oh man, it's career threatening," right? And so when Bernard came back, one of the first guys to come back from that, when he got 40 in a game, he sent his doctor the ball. Hey man, here you go. You said it wouldn't happen, and it did. You know, something's impossible until it's done. You know what I'm saying? And even with the great recovery time that athletes have and the medical breakthroughs that we've had in that field, right? You still, that second year, you know what I'm saying? When you're coming back from it a little bit, you're still kind of trying to get your sea legs, so to speak, right? Well, your man is back. He is 100% back. And I love the fact, like I said, I love the fact that it's not, 26 for 97, that he's not getting a huge, massive workload, which again speaks to the tremendous balance. So real quick, while I land the plane, everybody needs to kind of chill out for a little bit, on the zone versus man shit. Even diehard man teams like Detroit. Detroit's a diehard man team. Mm-hmm. They're going to play zone 34, 35% of the time. Correct. Everybody mixes it up. It's finding that right mix and tending towards what you do, which, I think we all feel like the Cowboys are a team that are really full of a bunch of man guys, guys that generally play man. They play man. Donovan Wilson is up in the box. That's kind of their stilo. And so to, move the volume knob a little bit more towards man obviously makes sense, but no one's going to play 100% man all the fucking time. They're just not. Okay. So get that through your head right now. They're adjusting and they are playing a little bit more man, and that is helping. And hopefully again, we got these reinforcements we keep hearing about that are on the way. And then there's the trade deadline, although I heard that it's a massive seller's market in terms of pass rush, that pretty much any contender anywhere from, Frisco, Cowboys, whomever is looking for a pass rusher. So it might not be as easy to swing a deal. And I will go on record as saying, don't get mad at your money, man, and send somebody 2 number ones for somebody. All right. Yeah. The smart thing to do, man, 1 number one has a lot of cachet and a lot of value. All right. Just be smart about what you do. Look at obviously talent, production, age, contract, and how many years you got them under contract, because a number one pick ain't nothing to play with. You don't want to just throw this shit away. All right. But there's a lot of hope with the reinforcements coming and the hope of a move. They'll make some sort of move. All right. It might not be a huge move, but they'll make some sort of move. You better believe that. And they got to buy that week when that happens. So, again, on to today's game. You know what I'm saying? Which that's the one we got on the schedule right now, man.
Yes.
So let's dive into that sumbitch and get that thing going, because that's a dilly, as they say.
Okay. Well, JC still a little bit of next segment's thunder. All right, but that's a very salient comment there about not getting over your skis as far as trying to get some edge rushing. And we'll sprinkle a little bit more on that before we get to the preview. So as it comes to do we have the best offense? Well, by the numbers, we do. In 90 yards per game. In passing, we're number 2 at 268 yards per, and we're number 14 in the rushing game, middle of the pack. So that in totality equals the best offense in the NFL. And like D. Brown so eloquently stated, we got the best, most dangerous kicker in the NFL as well. So there's that. So I think that's an easy little bow to kind of put on that one, that by the numbers, we are the best offense in the NFL. Just saying. So
hey, real quick, can I say this? If Aubrey was doing this shit in Carolina, would anybody fucking care?
No.
Think about that.
Nope.
He's the baddest cat in the jungle as far as kickers go, but everybody knows so much about him. Why? That's that star, baby.
Absolutely. It matters who you in.
The light is the hottest, man, in the good old DFW area. Just saying. So all right, so real quick, we can kind of just see now. JC mentioned that we shouldn't go one heavy to get a pass rusher, but I guess my real question is, with us leading to the bye week, is there a realistic move we can make to strengthen in that capacity, or you think the Cowboys are going to just kind of stay pat?
I think
there's
what you
cats
got going,
everywhere,
good, you
man.
standing pat.
But every time you bring up a big name, like Crosby in particular, well, he loves, Mark Davis and that fucking mo haircut that he rocks. Loves Vegas and this kind of thing. Now that could all be posturing. All right.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it on the show before, man. Carroll is what, 73, 74, something like that. I don't know if he's looking to rebuild. But then again, man, what does that matter? If you're Mark Davis, man, you got to do the right thing for the franchise going forward, man. Y'all are still a quarterback away, an offensive line away, a big-time receiver away. Y'all are a ways away. And you get there faster with draft capital.
Yep. Facts. I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship there too, JC, and some of what you hear with the talking heads locally and nationally. I'm standing on what I put forward. Man, golly, that has to be the fourth. That is the fourth stooge.
There he is.
That's a face only a mother could love right there, boy.
Boy, and that's a lot of love.
He took the
little on what I said last week on this.
Across the top. Right? The little ones that you get in elementary school, you just cut right across. You just combed it forward and then just
right there.
Don't lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand on what I put forward last week on this with Dallas, where they are, because again, there was a comment made in the chat earlier. It's like one of our guys in the show appreciated the comment that I can't remember who said it, but he doesn't like Dallas, but he thinks they're going. I don't think I completely disagree with that. I'm gonna stand on the fact that I think Dallas is going to have some really interesting moments throughout the rest of this year. That's hilarious, by the way. The poor Asian billionaire cut. I don't think they're. Matter of fact, I still think it's a very outside chance that Dallas makes the playoffs again because of what I brought in earlier. I think they left too much money early, and they would have to go on just an absolutely sick run. And even though we saw a glimpse. We've seen a couple of glimpses of a defense, but until that defense can show a level of consistency like this offense has week to week, and I'm not seeing enough of that to be that confident going forward that they'll do enough to even to win the division or make the playoffs this year, right? But I like what it's building towards. To the early point brought up by JC with what Shadi has said from day one, we're building something, and right now. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm good with that. I'm 100% good with that because of what I, again, laid out last week. They've done, almost by accident, but they've done so well in building what they've got under contract for the remainder of Dak's window in his current contract that, if you were somehow to retain Pickens and you sign Aubrey, that's lethal. That's almost cheat code situation. So you could commit that draft capital again that you gained from the Micah trade, along with the great Will McClay doing what he's been doing in large part of the last 10, 12 years now, and really building up that defense. And now you're talking about, like really doing something. I think Dallas had some chances that they've let get away from them that make just the line of attrition is too tight now, right? The margin for error is almost zero, and it makes every game like the one today a must win going forward to even have that conversation. But I like where it's at, and I think they should stand pat. I think there's some room to get better with what you've got. Jadeveon Clowney even said it himself. I'm just now getting to the point where I feel comfortable in what we're doing and what I'm doing within, the schemes and what I'm being asked to do. You see some of these young guys that are starting to come on. James, Shamar James Houston, Hawaiian Punch, Maris Leopold, Deron Bland, hopefully return to all pro form. Some of these other things. So I think you stand pat and roll with what you've got with the dynamic offense, hopefully an improving defense that gives you something consistent, and then really start to Shotty's point, build towards next year and basically the last 3 of this Dak window that Dallas has.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I think we'll know better after this game of what move we need to make. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, with 3-3-1, we are a team again, like we opened the show with 70% of our dubs, man. That does put us in the playoffs. And in my mind, if you go get a George Pickens, you want to win sooner than later. For use them as basically a rental if we can't sign them. So if those things are true and we pull off a good win, which would be a quality win today, make no mistake about it. Then maybe those get a little more deeper with the
Correct.
So to JC's point, do you go and sell the farm to try to flash? Probably not. But if you can get you a good deal, and Jerry Jones is in the business of making good deals, I don't see no problem at all with doing that. Now, to be stated too, we do have Overshown coming back after the break, so that could be a big signing within itself. Someone we didn't have out there who has all that potential. You know what I'm saying? That could be a big move in itself. So I guess to kind of give a finite answer, if we can get a deal, let's go for it. But I'm with JC. I'm not about selling the farm for a situation that could be good this year. Whereas when we can just kind of, save our nuts for the winter, proverbially speaking, and stack up for next year.
Hey, shout out to my man Zen for dropping the Mark Davis has the Asian billionaire cut. Right? And as soon as he said it, I saw a dude on the boat. Stop being a loser. You can be rich. Get up off the couch. You can make money. Look at me. Right? Dudes surrounded by broads and shit on a boat. Right? Good shit, Zen. Nice.
That's funny. That is funny.
That is hilarious. I will say this, Cliff, to your point, to you and JC's point real quick. I will say this. I like both of y'all's stances. But I will say this. If Dallas goes on this great run, and I'm not certainly dismissing it, is it possible? Sure it is. Is it likely? We'll see. But I will say this. That's one team. And, sometimes this, what I'm about to say is thrown around too loosely, but I think it's absolutely apropos when we're talking about this iteration of the Dallas Cowboys. That's one team that you absolutely do not want to see in a playoff game.
Yeah. We are dangerous football.
Now bet offense.
Yeah. We're dangerous
football. That's 32, man. This shit doesn't last forever. All
Correct.
right.
Yeah.
Don't just automatically think he's gonna be 100% healthy next year and play like this.
Yeah, that's true too.
You can't, but they're gonna show anybody. All right. Yeah. It's not a knock on Dak, but damn, man, we're riding a wave here. We got a vibe, you know what I'm saying, with this cat. Number 4, Dakota Rain. Like on the show a couple shows ago, I mentioned that I actually said he was like Lionheart, but what I meant to say was he's like Braveheart.
Yeah.
Right? That's Prescott. He's like Braveheart. Give me just a half more second of time, lads, and we'll beat these bastards. Get open. I'm coming to you, Pickens. Lamb, be ready. You know what I'm saying, man? It's crazy because, it's almost like Romo. My admiration for Romo really kind of started to grow more at the end. You start to appreciate the son of a bitch. Like, damn, man, he can ball. You know what I'm saying? It's like with Dak too, man. You realize, you try to understand what Dak is trying to do. Yeah. I computed the odds. It's literally 1 in 700 million trying to be a quarterback that wins a Super Bowl. All right, now, we all know that no one cares and all that. Hey, man, just get the job done. But look, man, enjoy the journey, right? Man, this guy dedicated himself in the offseason. He's shredded now. All right, he's running more, which we didn't even expect, right? He's moving in the pocket. He's shaking people off, making huge plays. Look, man, he's rolling right now. All right, and we talked about this years ago. There was a local sports show host that said, he didn't believe in momentum. Bullshit. Momentum is real. And Dakota's got some right now, man. And I'm dead serious. They used to say this shit with Aikman all the time. Well, you got an upright Troy Aikman, You don't want to waste that, so you go get Joey Galloway. Look, same shit. You got an upright Dakota Rain Prescott who is straight up hogging out. He is putting on a clinic, man. This is some of the best quarterback play that we've seen in the history of the franchise, even though it's a small sample size, these last few games. But hey, man, would you rather be playing well or would you rather be playing like crap?
Self-explanatory right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, well, let's round it out. So we got a big game today against the 5-2 Broncos. We talked about how, our offensive prowess is Broncos currently leading the NFL in sacks with 34 sacks a game. Number 3 in yards allowed with 273. So it looks like fire meeting ice today, gentlemen. Let's see. Let me ask. What are your insights on today's game against the Broncos? And I guess after that we'll do the score prediction. So just some of your insights.
Allow me to jump in here, Mr. Brown, sir, and
please, by all means,
and adjust the flow, if you will, sir.
Do your thing, man.
I just got a text from Talia Shire. You can't win, she says. You can't win. You cannot win. This game today, man, that's what it feels like to me. And it feels like one that you don't win, that you can't win. Now, we all know that that's not true. Certainly, they're capable of winning. No question about it. But this has been a house of horrors since fucking 1980. Right?
Yeah.
I remember they had a quarterback named Matt Anderson, and they smoked the Cowboys by 2 scores. And this was, this is the 12-win Cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few franchises in the NFL that has a winning record against Dallas. One of the few. And you got the altitude thing, and again, usually when a place is a house of horrors, it's because the team is pretty good that you're playing.
Correct.
And certainly the team, with Bonito on the edge, your man Surtain, who's pretty much the best corner in the game right now. He's pretty much the number 1 guy. I don't think there's any disputing that. And the Moss kid on the other side, man, is actually holding his own and doing quite well. Surtain is the best corner in the business. This team generates tons of pressure. Okay. Although last week, Jackson Dart and the Giants kind of put a little bit of ass whooping on their defense, man, in terms of what they were able to do. And this is with no Malik Neighbors, mind you. All right. You know, and a rookie quarterback. Now, does that translate to this week? We'll see. You got to think that they'll suck it up and be better. I look at this game and everything, you got Sean Payton and everything going into it and that defense and how good that defense is. And again, the whole altitude thing, man, that seems to throw the Cowboys, right? The last time they won up there, man, was 1992, all right? And that was not John Elway. That was the cat from Virginia. I forgot, was it Reggie Slack, I want to say? The quarterback from Virginia, right, that was playing in that game. And they had to come back to win that sumbitch. In the end, like 31-28, right? That's the last time they won up there, and that was 1992, boys. Now, they talk about in life about the hot hand theory or, because something is going a certain way, it will continue to go that way. And that's actually really kind of a fallacy. Each individual occurrence and event is dictated by that particular day's circumstances and performance. All right. So, yes, man, in the past, it's been bad. Yes, you could say that they are due. All right. I think the matchup is one of those that I always point to and say when you've got a really good offense and a suspect defense, and you've got an okay offense and a really good defense, the team with the really good defense smokes them. That's generally what happens? They're at home as well, and that helps. All right. And I just see this one being difficult to overcome. Now, if you are going to overcome it, how do you do it? You come out, you bust them in the mouth, handle business, and you get a break. You need a break. You need a turnover. You need a special teams play, right? Something to reach out and get their ass, man, and get on even footing with them. I'm super excited about it. I'm not optimistic about it, of course, being the glass half empty guy. I'm not optimistic about it at all. And you'll see that when we get into score predictions later. I think this one's a tough one, but it's because I think Denver's a pretty good football team. I know they've got an excellent coach. They've got a lot of guys on defense. They're trying to pull the offense together. Bo Nix is still learning, but he's a heck of an athlete, and he's a pretty damn good quarterback. He's way better than I thought he would be.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
will certainly be willing to admit that right now. With them, they're kind of in the same spot the Cowboys are in terms of, hey, man, we're trying to build something here. So you got a chance with a little bit of uncertainty to kind of reach out and grab them. But all I can say, man, is this one's going to be tough.
Solid. I kind of share your sentiment, JC, in that, just as a whole, this is going to be a really tough matchup for Dallas. I know that history. It is, really kind of a head scratcher when you consider the long storied winning history of Dallas against most teams. But this one, like you said, has been a house of horrors there in Denver. But just looking at today's matchup, it's going to be interesting, man. But I mean, I'm excited to see, a defense as good as Denver's is matched up against this offense of Dallas, as good as it is. I've said it consistently. When you have, matchups that look, tough for either side, you kind of look for things that, particularly if you're a fan of one team or the other, that tilt things your way or tilt things towards a particular matchup. And I'm gonna start with the quarterback again. I like Dallas's edge of quarterback. How could I not? Right?
Yeah.
Bo Nix, like you said, is and I agree with you. He's better than I thought he would be. I think it helps that he's learning and maturing as an NFL quarterback under a guy who is as good as there's been in, coaching and developing the quarterback position in Sean Payton. That's part of the matchup that concerns me most is Sean Payton. I think will go down. I think you guys can agree as one of the single best game planners and in-game adjusters and game play callers I think there's ever been, right? And so that he'll have some things that will be problematic for Dallas to deal with defensively. This guy takes advantages of weaknesses and things he feels that he can exploit as well as anybody that's ever done it. So that's a concern. That history is there. But I do like the matchup in terms of the quarterback. And what's going to be really interesting specifically as far as this matchup goes is, Patrick Surtain has been everything that he was projected to be. To JC's point, I think he's probably the single best corner in football. But guess what? He can't cover two guys. And Dallas has the luxury of, like we touched on early in the show, that they have the luxury. You're going to have to pick your poison, right? If he's going to follow a particular guy, it's going to be real interesting to see how they come out and use Surtain. Because if you're telling me that Surtain is safe, if he's going to shadow CeeDee Lamb, okay, that's the poison that you're choosing to take in the George Pickens matchup. Because guess what? They're going to take it. And I like that matchup. I don't give a damn who you got over there. I like that matchup one-on-one with Pickens. If you go in a two deep shell and you're going to, roll your safeties and not get beat, the big play and you're going to concede something underneath, I like Jake Ferguson a lot. So, and you got a quarterback who is reading it as well as anybody in the game in terms of taking what the defense gives you. They're going to have to give you something. And I like where Dak is in terms of his ability to exploit what teams are giving them. And the last piece is we're going to see just how mature our young but talented offensive line is or is not, because they're going to get their manhood challenge today.
Absolutely.
If Dallas is going to, it kind of reminds me, Cliff, of going back in the gym, going against, you keep going back in there and, and those OGs, kept putting it on you, right? And you be competitive, but somehow you just couldn't, they could still get whatever shot they wanted, and you couldn't quite understand why.
Right.
I think that's kind of what Dallas may be facing in the trenches, with the young offensive line and Denver's front seven. But when you discovered, that you had a little bit quicker first step, and you got to the hole and got it to go and got to and one, it's like, wait a minute, I got this fool. I belong. I'm here. So maybe we'll see some of that develop in the Dallas game. But I think and this is the beautiful part of these types of matchups, is the exertion of will, right? And it's going to happen in the trenches, particularly Dallas's O-line against Denver's front. If Dallas can establish something productive, not spectacular, but productive. What do I mean by productive? Converting third downs if you get to third and short, right? Moving those chains. And I think that's where Ferguson and Javonte Williams will be huge today. If they can do that, if they can establish something productive in the run game, and keep this thing, I don't want to say close, but I mean, still say where the game doesn't get away from them, right? Where you've got a chance where you're putting the ball in QB1's hand to go win the game late, or position yourself for a at altitude Brandon Aubrey very long field goal, right, to win the thing. That I think you're in good shape. And this is and I'll land it here, by any means necessary. And I think you've got, I think the offense is going to have to help the defense a lot in terms of time of possession in this game. And that's where the big challenge is going to come from. If they can't establish that in the run game, it may be a long day for Dallas. Therein lies the big challenge. But given the fact that QB1's been able to really manipulate the matchups as defenses dictates, okay, take that away from me. Well, let me go kill you over here or whatnot. So we'll see how those dynamics line up. It's going to be very, very tough, given that history. But I like the dynamic nature of this offense. And on the other side, if we can, like to JC's, I think it's a great point. If you can get young Knicks to make a mistake, right? If Davian Clowney gets the big paw up there and gets the tip ball, something, like a fortuitous bounce, a tip ball, something along those lines, and you get the guys to make a mistake and say you get up on it, and now you're relying on young Knicks to have to press a little bit, to do things and not be comfortable playing with a lead, those types of things. Then Dallas can get out here with a win. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two dynamics line up. And but I'm gonna give the slight edge just because of the quarterback play and the fact that we have the bionic man as kicker.
Okay. From my vantage point, man, this has been a hard team to predict before the game. And it's almost like after a few possessions, you can kind of see what team showed up. So I'm gonna say this, man. We're gonna see who's showing up because, again, like I like to say it all the time, by the numbers, we're 1-3 on the road. We're not a great road team. Denver is undefeated at 3-0 at home. So, meaning, can we get the engine going faster? Right? Can we get going out the gates? Because we see what this team can do when we got our full head of steam going. And listen, man, Denver's a damn good defense. You just laid out how Patrick Surtain Jr. is out there balling his ass off. But last time I checked, we got about 4 weapons that they got to account for in wide out. You know what I mean? So I'm not so much worried about that. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, Cortland Sutton, SMU. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna have a hell of a day. But I guess as far as just us, when we clicking, we are a hard team to beat. So I'm not so much worried about Patrick Surtain winning his matchup. It's about other guys going to step up, or are we going to, to quote JC, are we going to be on some whole shit? To kind of start the game off, And so also too, I'm looking for Javonte Williams to have a homecoming game where, like, hey, I know he's looking at the chumps for a team to let him go that he's been with the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So we've seen Rico Dowdle do it to us. So I'm just saying,
100%.
Too. So with that being said, we'll see who shows up. Defensively, I like your take as well, because I think Clown is getting ahead of steam up under him, man. Having a few weeks off. Listen, ain't nothing like game speed, game shape. I don't care what sport you're talking. And you build momentum when you start to get your wind under you, as an old school say, and you start to understand the level from an applied standpoint. When you get used to the physicality at that standpoint, and it seems like every week, Jadeveon Clowney is getting better and better every week. Every week. So that being said, I mean, James Houston, our leading tackler right now, 3.5 sacks, looking better every week. And they're using them more every week.
Correct.
Marcus Bell getting to the ball every week. He kind of started off a little slow, but he's getting back to what we seen from 2 years ago when Dan Quinn trusted him so much, right?
Right.
So with that, I say all that to say, as bad as our defense is, it could potentially not be as bad. Now, listen, and y'all guys lamented on Bo Nix, man. He's playing his ass off, 5-2, man. Looking damn good. He ain't a world beater at the end of the day, though. So we get some pressure on him. He's still a young guy. What's his year 2? I mean, listen, they're still dip on that chip where we can kind of make some rush decisions and see if he really like that. So I don't think this is an insurmountable game.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a task that's way too tall. I just, again, depending on who show up, I'll know in the first quarter what it looks like. But on the road, again, by the numbers, we're not a good road team.
Right.
So yeah, man. You said D Brown. That's funny, yo. So with that being said, man, I like our chances, but it's almost like I hate predicting, because it's almost like they do the opposite of what I say. Man, I keep looking like an asshole with my predictions, but I think that we are.
That's all right. I do it every week.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, damn, man. And most times I'm playing with surprise. I predicted like 3 losses. There were 2 losses that were wins this year, so there's that. But with all that being said, I think that we're a team going against a solid team who know they are. Again, you mentioned Sean Payton being one of the best minds to ever do it, who was probably supposed to be on our sideline. Let us tell it. That he's going to play discipline. He's going to have his guys ready. That they're not going to make a lot of mistakes, even though there's a chance for us to, and their record proves this, right?
Yeah.
So I think we do have a chance, and if we look real quick at Denver's opponents that they previously had, they actually first in the AFC West as things currently stand. They defeated Titans, whoop-de-doo. They lost to the Colts by 1 point, lost to the Chargers by 3 points, beat the hell out the Bengals, they beat the Eagles, and they beat the Jets 13-11. Then there's that, and they beat the Giants last week by the hair of their chin, 33-32. So again, this is a team that we can get our stuff on.
They're not a juggernaut.
Right. So it's just, but then again, they beat quality teams too. So we'll see who shows up. I like our chances personally.
Interesting. They are without a stud in Dre Greenlaw. He's out, but totality defensively, they've been really good. But again, man, when you got so many guys, Cliff, to your point, which I think was a great one. I mean, you've got a couple of guys that stand out in terms of their ability and bring what they bring. Obviously, starting with Surtain, but man, I mean, they can't cover everybody. And when you got a guy that's seeing it, like Forrest seeing it, man, you like your chances, right? Yep. And again, I think it's about sustaining drives. I would love to see Dallas today, relative to their defense. This is the whole complimentary football, please. Really have 3, 4, 5 drives today of 10 plays or more, right? Where you're just grinding these guys out,
Yeah.
Keeping that defense off the field and grinding and finishing those drives with touchdowns, right? Because I think that just puts a bigger onus and more pressure on young Knicks and his group. So for me, the recipe for success, if Dallas can put that together, would be just that. Would be long, sustained drives. Now, we always love explosive plays. I mean, I'll take them. They come. If we get them, I'll take it. But it would be really great to see them really grind it out. And another thing to keep in, and even if Denver really bows the necks and makes things tough for Dallas, even in the early going, you got on again. We're talking this very thin, mile high air that we're talking about. So that premium on getting some early first downs and that short field when you've got a Brandon Aubrey in this game, in that stadium, in that air, that has to figure probably a little more prominently in your game plan, right? Is the weapon that is Aubrey in this deal. And who knows? Who knows? We may even see the actual record, broken today in terms of longest kick in an NFL game. They got the kicker to do it. This is the atmosphere in the stadium to do it. So we just may see that. But I think he figures pretty prominent in the offensive game plan, given how tough Denver can possibly be. Now, if they're getting what they want, then it's back to belt to ass. So it's gonna be a real interesting dynamic. And Cliff, and the last thing, I'll agree with you here. I think I think both of you guys touched on this. I think you'll know pretty early on which team shows up and the tone and timbre of this thing pretty early, fairly early, certainly in the first quarter. So strap them up. Let's get after it.
Let's get after it. So with that being said, actual score predictions as we round the show out. What we got?
JT, fire us up.
Could you in theory, every time you receive the possession, Turpin running back a kickoff, fielding a punt at your own 25, could you, in theory, trot Aubrey out there from 75, 80, every single possession for 10 possessions and get to 30 points?
That is wild ass football.
No, unfortunately, no, it won't happen. And, when I look at this game, a lot of times, you'll see people take advantage of the Cowboys, right? And there's times that, certainly under, cholesterol, there were times I felt like they were taking advantage of the coach and the things that he did, right? Now, oddly enough, I actually feel like that what coaches do is they take advantage of the weaknesses of the players, of the Cowboys on defense. I think that because, again, we always say, man, the game comes back to players. It always does, always has, always will. I certainly think that Peyton is an excellent coach. Love the guy. He's a red ass. Love the guy. Love him as a coach. I'm going to say, because I love the odd score, I'm going to say 29-17 Denver. And again, it's going to be kind of a hinky, kind of a weird game. But I certainly agree with what you guys were saying, man. Come out and be deliberate and show them that you're going to be in the game and fight the some bitch out and win it late, like most of these NFL games do, man. They come down to the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, man, I'm just, glass half empty guy. All right, I'm going to say 29-17 Broncos.
Okay, fair enough.
But the season's not over.
Fair enough. D. Brown.
All right, I like the and even as JC was going in his prediction, I just like the matchup. I know it's daunting for the Cowboys as a whole, all the history, today's matchup, all those things. I just like where Dak is right now. I'm really leaning towards the matchup as it relates to the quarterback, and I think there's going to be things that this offense does today that really helps this defense out. And I like the dynamic between play caller and quarterback as well. I've, for the most part, really like what Shotty's been in terms of game planning for a particular opponent. and Dak just going out and executing it. Both done at a really high level. He's got a full complement of weaponry. You couldn't ask for more than that. If you're going to go up against a really stout Denver defense, then you really would like to have the cachet of weapons that the Cowboys have. That said, I think Javonte Williams runs with a little bit of a chip, with a little y'all miss me type of chip. I think Brandon Aubrey factors heavily in the game. I think Dallas stays close and Brandon Aubrey gets it late. I'm going with the really odd. And last thing, I think this is the point in the season, and this probably was emphasized. If you're going to put some consistency together, because Dallas has not won 2 games back-to-back yet. If you're going to start, it needs to start now. There's some urgency there, and that's not rah-rah, given where they are in this point in the season, all the things we talked about. That needs to start now. So if it's going to start, it needs to start today. That said, I'm going with the really funky 28-25. Cowboys eke one out in Mile High.
Okay.
Yes, we're at the magical halfway point, boys.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with history. And when this team plays against good teams, you're going to be upper 20s. Last week, I guess, I didn't watch them play against the Giants, so I can't call it, to be frank with you. They did barely beat a rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart, who, he got stuff to prove still. With that being said, I'm going to go, man. I'm going to go off the momentum because last week I predicted an L, and we looked damn good last week, so I don't want to undermine it. You know how we are. It don't matter if we're at home on the road. You just don't know what Cowboy team going to show up. So with that being said, I'm gonna have a build of confidence this week, man. I'm going 27-21. Good guys.
Nice.
27-21.
There it is.
There we go. So that's why I see. Oh, and we almost forgot. For those who hung around, you got a chance to win some money real quick with the Cowboys trivia. Zen, if you want to fire it up real quick, so I give a $5 cash app to whoever can answer this question.
Okay, fellas, I had to change the trivia question because I gave it away once or twice, but I went ahead and got prepared. So let's first turn on some music here for Halloween, and then we're going to go ahead and get that new video popping right now.
Appreciate you, Zen.
Today's Cowboy trivia. How many games did the Cowboys win in their first season, which coincidentally was 1960?
Yes.
1960, the year of our Lord. Yes.
65 years.
Oh, y'all can win some free money on the cash app. I'm hanging in. I see we got 8 live listeners still.
30 seconds, Cliff?
30 seconds.
All right, we'll start the clock now. 30 seconds, the first person to respond wins $5 via Cash App, starting now.
It's a very nice graphic, by the way, sir.
Thank you. All right, we've hit our 30-second mark.
Nobody wants it. Hook us up.
Guys on the panel, do you have a guess?
Oh, I know. I wasn't quite that old, but I know the answer to this question. I know the actual record.
1960. What was the record, D. Brown?
0-11-1.
Damn.
We tied the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-31.
That's correct.
Here we go, Steelers.
Yep. They had the fortuitous tie. They did not win a game in their opening season. Eddie LeBaron was the quarterback.
See, being a young buck of the panel, I know he started in 1960. That's the best I got.
0-11-1. They did not win a game.
Coincidentally, guys, my father was 18 years old when the Dallas Cowboys were created. And I myself was 12 years old. They were 12 years old when I was born.
Yep, they went to their first Super Bowl the year after I was born. 1967.
71.
Pops was 20. Look, Pops was thugging it out at PV
There you go.
when the Cowboys started.
Shout out to PV, man. Just wrapped up home.
Pops was thugging it out. And let's see, Mom's was a senior in high school on her way to PV.
Okay. Shout out to PVAMU. So, all right. Good show, gentlemen. Thank you, Zen, for that.
Good stuff.
Appreciate that, man. Good stuff. We're going a long way from the Lucius Whitehead Award from weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Lucius, wherever he may be. All right, fellas. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Great shit.
What's it up? Straight no chaser.
Straight no chaser style.
Jeez.
Who you with?
Go Cowboys.
This is medicinal. Strictly medicinal.